Good evening. The Sacramento City Council, please come to order. Would the clerk call the roll, please, to establish a quorum in partnership with the community? Thank you. All right. We have a resolution, a motion, and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose, abstain. That's unanimous, okay? Hey. Let's move on to we do have the reparations item. We're gonna, hate to move through this also quickly, but let's see if we can move through this sort of quickly. Go ahead.
Yay. Okay, all right, on to another exciting. I want to, again, Amise Unselay-Barnes, Diversity and Equity Manager, here for the Reparations Engagement Plan for Action Investment Redress Initiative, another citywide resolution that is before you. I want to acknowledge the collaborative efforts of city staff and careholders who contributed to today's presentation. Robert Bell, Ari Green, Robert Bell from the Office of Diversity and Equity, Ari Green from the Office of Innovation, Economic Development, Community Engagement. I also want to acknowledge city staff, careholders who have contributed to the work and will be contributing to the work in the future. Lynette Hall, Office of Innovation and Economic Development, Community Engagement Manager. I'd also like to thank Audrielle Anderson-White from the City Attorney's Office. You have been amazing. Thank you for that. And for providing continuity as we switch from mayoral to citywide, Lainey Milstein, Michael Josso, and Howard Chan to keep the conversation going, because we've done that in a matter of like the last literally 4 weeks. So I'm here to provide some quick and brief comments on the efforts and the significance of also another powerful moment of this resolution. All right. So city level reparation engagement, community engagement grant project. In June 2021, Mayor Steinberg publicly committed to pursuing city level reparations through a mayoral initiative. At the June 15, 2021 City Council meeting, the Council unanimously adopted a ceremonial resolution recognizing the historic passage of California AB 3121, which established a task force to develop reparation proposals for African American descendants. I really want to acknowledge the efforts of Kelly Fong Rivas, former senior advisor to Mayor Steinberg, and also Mayor Steinberg, who leaned in on those conversations very early on, leaned in, for this work to begin when you became a member of MORE, Mayors Organized for Reparations and Equity. So thank you for that. That foundational work is what has brought us to this moment. And moving to the work that our community-based organizations did as careholders, they reached out to the African American community within the city of Sacramento, and a little bit beyond actually, and was able to hear and receive 510 community surveys, which 80% of the respondents were African American, while 65 were current Sacramento residents. The survey showed over 80% of respondents wants the city to pursue a reparations program at the local level moving forward. And really want to acknowledge that, that in the report, in the supplemental, if you want to learn more about the responses, take a look at sections 2.3 and sections 2.6.3 in the Mayoral Reparations Initiative 2024 Progress Report, which is attached. So the key points and expectations, let's level set, people, builds off the work of the city level reparations community and the grants projects that we just talked about, operationalizes next steps and strategies outlined in the Mayoral Reparations Initiative, which is in sections 2.64. The resolution also is to help establish leadership support to transition from mayoral initiative to citywide initiative. Also positions the city of Sacramento to have meaningful relationships with careholders and explore what a reparative program could look like in the future. There's a lot of work to do in this regard. We are not, I really want to say this, we're not cutting checks next year. Like, it's not, I don't want that meta narrative around it. It's to be very real about, we need to deepen our relationships. We need to understand what reparations looks like for the city. We need to understand our role as a city government in a reparative program. And we can also look at what that looks like for the future, whether that's a representative body that makes recommendations. This is a phase of work that really will build off and connect to the ongoing city racial equity work and efforts. One, you just approved, among other things. So really want to really level set that. This is a phase to work with the Greater Sacramento Urban League to do a body of work around legal analysis, landscape analysis, and that is also outlined in the mayoral progress report for 2024 in the same section, I believe it's 264. So really wanted to level set that. And I really also want to thank the council members who took on the briefings. That concern and that question came up, and it was helpful for us in terms of the remarks for this presentation. There are two particular, as I mentioned before, this will help amplify and build off current city work, racial equity work, one you just passed, but wanted to kind of highlight two, African American Experience Project. I think the next agenda item is on the LGBT Experience Project. And so the African American Experience Project was and is an ongoing project that's through our CDD. I'm not going to go into too much detail of it, but wanted to really just kind of highlight that the goals of this project highlight acknowledging racial injustice using history, document Black history in an accurate narrative, challenge misinformation about the Black experience. So one of the major themes from the Community Engagement Grant Project is that we learn that education and misinformation about reparations is important. So here we have this already well award-winning project where we can utilize the information there and the voices there in order to help shape some of that analysis and the work moving forward. The other key project I'd like to acknowledge that is currently in the works right now is the City Start Blueprint. The City Start Blueprint, excuse me, let me just make sure I have my, yes. The second project is through the Office of Innovation and Economic Development. The City of Sacramento was successful in receiving a $75,000 grant to bridge the wealth gap for Black Sacramentans. This City of Sacramento is part of the first cohort in the country to specifically address Black wealth gap, along with 7 other cities. The blueprint has intentionally been designed to identify strategies to reduce Sacramento's Black wealth gap with improvement focus on areas of housing, workforce development, and banking. The blueprint utilizes history to address racial injustices by identifying government, federal, state, and local boosts and blocks impacting Black wealth in Sacramento. So the blueprint will be released in January 2025. So wanted to illustrate those two of how this resolution and this phase of work will be supported and connected and aligned with the work that we are already doing. In summary, the Racial Equity Committee, there was on September 10th, unanimously directed approval of a resolution that addresses city efforts and to continue those city efforts on reparations and transitions to citywide reparations initiative. Also want to mention that this proposal and the scope of work with the Greater Sacramento Urban League is supported by dollars that have already been identified. And so those dollars being identified as part of the February 22 mid-year adjustment have already been established. So we're well supported to enter into this next phase of work. We have collaboration with the Office of Diversity and Equity and OIED to move this work along and continue to deepen our relationship with community and our role in repairing harm. And so action requested to adopt the Mayoral Reparations Initiative as a citywide initiative called Repair, transitioning the Mayor Reparations Initiative to a city one. I am complete.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's hear, thank you. I mean, we do have public testimony here, so let's hear from the public.
I have 8 speakers on this item: Lambert, Zion Taddis, Rachel, D'Angelo Mack, Christopher Logston, Dr. Flo Kofer, Keon Bliss, and then Stacy Anderson. Lambert appears to have left. Zion, following Zion is Rachel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me again, and thank you, Mayor, for initiating this reparation resolution. And I was part of that when it comes to really doing the survey when it comes to reparation. So what we really need is really repairing our community. When people talk about reparation, reparation, yeah, we need to repair. We don't need to be repairing the roads before we're repairing our community. We're spending so much many other things than our women, our children, our youth, our businesses. And so reparation is going to be an amazing initiation again to really help us close the gap, the wealth gap, the education gap that has been by design created in our community. Like we know, I'm standing here because our ancestors for 400 years paid for it for free. So all of us sitting here is because, our Black people paid for it a long time ago for 400 years. If they didn't do that, we wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't be standing here, do what I do, just like everybody else. So it's time for us to really repair the harm that's been done for generation and generation. I can go on the history, what happened to our African American community and our Black community through systemic racism, blatant racism, and all that stuff. So this would give us a chance really to close the gap that has been created deliberately so Black people cannot thrive in the economy that they actually worked hard for free for 400 years. I mean, that's a long time. So I think it's about time, and I'm glad it's happening here in Sacramento. So I'm for it, and I'm just thankful that, Mayor, you really initiated this. It's about time, and let's vote for it. Thank you.
The next speaker is Rachel. Rachel? I don't see Rachel. D'Angelo. Following D'Angelo is Christopher Logston, Dr. Flo Kofer, Keon Bliss, and Stacey Anderson. Please feel free to line up in the aisle.
Yeah, hey, D'Angelo Mack again, Racial Equity Alliance. Yeah, I'm so glad we're here, right? It's a long time coming, right, Rick? So my thing with reparations is, and equity for that matter, is we continue to ask the people who are marginalized to do all the work. And thank you, Ami and team, for doing the work, and Chris and everyone pushing this. But the thought is, it's not us coming to you with what we need and you saying, okay, yeah, maybe. Nope, go take it back, figure out something else. You should come to us with what you think we need and let us say, nope, not enough. Until you bring it to us and we say, give us everything, that's when true reparations happens. The problem is we're afraid. We're afraid to say, yes, we'll give you everything because we think that we're going to do the same thing that you did to us. But that's not the case. We're not those people. We're not diabolical. We just want our due, right? And so my sis said 400 years we worked for free, right? Which we did. We built this country. We built Sacramento. And so giving us back what's ours is just right, right? You should actually give it all to us, and then we will give back to you. Promise. I promise we will. But that's how it works. That's real reparations. So thank you. Ask for your vote on this.
Next speaker is Christopher.
I did my personal professional intros in the prior item. I did want to just give some thanks first to you here, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for committing yourself to this effort. It takes leadership. I know I hear all the time leadership matters. And so I want to thank you personally. Mr. Jennings over there, Culture of God. But I want to thank you also for your presence and for your power and for your leadership also. To every single one of you, even those who I haven't had the chance to meet with directly yet, you will be getting an email and a call from us to set up some individual briefings to help you understand what's going on at the state level. For those of you who don't know, our organization CJAC. We helped write the final version of the bill that created the law to create the California Reparations Task Force in 2020. That was Assembly Bill 3121. And then we've been working very closely at the state level with state legislators to get reparations bills passed at the state level for over the past year, and we'll continue to do that over the next, as long as it takes, to be quite honest. Also want to give a big shout out to Kelly, Robert over there, Ami, the whole family, the whole team. Thank you all. Most importantly, though, I want to thank the people that's behind me and the people that's not here right now, either not here physically because they can't physically be here, but also those who are no longer with us, specifically my ancestors. I gave you my personal, titles and all that, but I am a living descendant of someone whose ancestors were enslaved and emancipated in this country. And we are owed reparations. It is a debt that's owed. It's not a handout, it's not a gift, not a grant. We're owed it. And I look forward to you passing this resolution tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Dr. Flo Kofer. Rachel?
Again, hello. Stacy with National African American Civil Rights Organization. Again, salutations from President Betty Williams. Thank you, Chris Lodgson. Let me take this off for a minute. NACRO voted unanimous to support the reparations resolution. We now represent 12 states and growing. I would like for you all to envision racial justice for African Americans. It's our civil right. Every other minority nationality, a little song there.
All right.
Every other minority nationality has received reparations, and we are way overdue. We are no longer running from slavery, but racing forward. Do the right thing, write a new chapter, and use your power to move us forward, which we well deserve. Thank you.
Your comments? I have two more speakers, Dr. Flo Kofer, then Keon Bliss.
My bedtime alarm just went off, so I'm going to keep this brief. Which is, I just thank yous abound to everyone who helped to put this together, and I'm so glad that we are converting this from a mayoral initiative to a citywide initiative. I am really here today both to affirm this item and the next one, which I'm going to leave before because the bedtime alarm just went off. But I just want to say that, understanding the history and then also doing something about it is our shared responsibility. And I am reminded constantly, and I'm saying this because both my mother and my aunt, as well as my friend's mother in the back of the room, and I am the first generation in my family to be born with the right to vote. I was gestated, in the womb of a woman born in 1950 who did not have that right until the Voting Rights Act was passed in the 60s. And so I want to thank you all today for beginning the process of doing what should have been done in 1865 and certainly should have been done in 1965. And we make it more complicated the longer we wait. So I thank you for seeing the urgency of this moment and for taking this on. And what I ask is that we also apply the lessons to this as we do things moving forward. We had a war on drugs, and we still have people alive from that war on drugs who are suffering because of decisions we made, and I want our body to also think about that. I want us to consider that when harm has been done, reparations is the key to that, and thinking about what that looks like as we move forward as a body. So I want to thank you for affirming history and also for moving this forward because it is necessary for us as part of healing. Thank you.
Keon Bliss is our final speaker on this item.
Really, not much more needs to be said within that, but I mean, there is a lot that needs to be still needs to be unpacked with why this is. I'm glad to see that this is moving forward as a citywide initiative, and it should have been done years ago. We all know this. It's better late than never, truly. And I think one of the most important pieces about reparations and repairing the harm, the legacy of how this nation was founded under the principle of white supremacy that prioritized property and profit over basic human rights and well-being is one of those ways in which we need to overcome and repair the harm that continues to be done even to today. I think it's important to remember that even as one form of slavery has been ended, slavery was not abolished in this country. We still have major corporations that operate here in this city that we do business with that continue to profit from mass incarceration, which every arm of law enforcement from the federal level down to the city level continues to facilitate, aid, and abet. Taxpayers in the U.S. spend more than $80 billion every year on people who are locked up. And here in Sacramento County, we have an overcrowded jail system that on any given day has over 3,000 people, most of whom are pre-trial, who could be home. And that contributes, and that allows for law enforcement agencies to claim even more money. If we're going to have a serious conversation, we need more than just words. We need action. Actions speak louder than words, but also, too, money talks. That's right. And we need to actually see money behind this well after several of you step off. So I hope you can continue advocating for this.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
All right. Thank you again, members of the public. Appreciate it. Let's turn it over to the member, Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy to support this and move the item unless somebody from the committee wants to. But I just want to give thanks to Ami and the team for all your work on this and really just level setting expectations. Like, this work is really important, and I appreciate you finding grant funding to help us advance this. It's something that we're going to continue to have to do just because we are in a budget deficit and we're continuing to make cuts, and we're going to be having a lot of difficult decisions to make. And so just setting expectations with the community when we're out there, having these really important conversations is so important to me because I just want to make sure that we meet people's expectations and don't overpromise and underdeliver. And so just really want to thank you for your words today. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Vang?
Thanks, Mayor. I'll second the motion on the table by Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes, and just wanted to echo her comments to city staff and all the community members and community partners that was part of the grant as well to get to this moment. I did have a question for Ami, and maybe we need to change the motion, but I want to have a better understanding the transition from the mayor initiative to the city council and what that would look like. I think for me, a new mayor is going to come in and new appointments for different committees. But I think having the loop around is going to be really important because once this resolution passed, I'm curious to know, because I know there's a contract with the Urban League.
Right.
I think having that loop around back, even if it's to the Racial Equity Committee and then to bring forth the full council is going to be important. Maybe that's a direction to add to the motion as well. But I want to have a better understanding of that because I don't want that to get lost.
It's a great question. I appreciate you bringing it up. Apologies for moving so fast through the presentation. So under Mayor Steinberg and Kelly's leadership, it was our office, the Office of Diversity and Equity, provided grant support. And Robert Bell was really instrumental in helping those grants get paid and administered through our procurement process. And then the three of us would often meet with the 5 grantees. A toolkit was created from that as well, and then the progress report. So given that, and then the mayor transition, the Office of Diversity and Equity will be the primary lead on that because we're the best positioned to do that. And so with the February 22 mid-year adjustment, the $120,000 grant is the financial commitment that has already been established and is already there to work with the Greater Sacramento Urban League to do that body of work that's on pages 54 and 55, which involves legal analysis, landscape analysis, deep community engagement, education, and all the other subsequent actions. So that's what I was mentioning about the city manager's office has created it to where there's this seamless kind of, with the transition of the mayor and Kelly, that we could take this on and continue on with the work since the infrastructure was built within it for financial, the 120, and the identified work with the Greater Sacramento Urban League, who was already involved in the research in the initiative as well around reparations.
Great.
So there was a relationship there. So it's really a seamless transition, but the Office of Diversity and Equity will be the primary point for this next phase.
Okay.
And we'll be working closely with the Office of Innovation and Economic Development, particularly Lynette Hall and her team with community engagement, working, and I'm sure we'll be partnering possibly with all of your offices. I would love to talk with the Racial Equity Alliance and Council about how this work could possibly, how we can collaborate, how we can leverage, maximize community relationships and the conversations around what reparations looks like in the city.
Sounds great. Thank you, Ami. Appreciate that.
Okay, very good. I'm so glad this work is going to continue citywide. It's appropriate. And go. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose, abstain. That's another unanimous vote. Hey, we do have one more equity issue on the agenda here, and that is item number 32.